Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new episode of Gaming Sales Heroes video interviews. I'm happy to be today here with Julian. We took a little pause, and now we are ready to start again. Hi, Julian. How are you doing?
Hi. Very good. Very good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's my pleasure, actually. And please introduce yourself, because I know that many people know you already since you start working in this industry. But maybe you want to, let's say, answer about how you start the career in sales and why you decided actually to work in sales.
In sales or iGaming specifically?
Well, it's up to you, because the topic is about gaming sales heroes. I would emphasize both of them if you like, but we are happy to hear from you in general, your experience.
All right. Well, I have a very, very long career in sales. I think, straight out of school, I went straight into a sales role. I've done retail management, advertising. In a past life, I was a graphic designer. I worked in data center hosting and provision. At one point, I was working in the fashion retail. All the careers that you tend to go through at the very, very beginning of your career, it's just
yes.
I started to make, I was living in Malta at the time, and I was starting to make quite a few contacts outside of my my hosting job, which was with a smaller ISP, but they had some heavyweight customers in the iGaming space. So I like the sound of the industry. I like the people. Some people like the whole culture of it all. It wasn't the culture per se. It was more the nuances. The operator perspective, B2B. Everybody has similar issues around it, and inherently, I'm a problem solver. I don't like to just take a product or a service and just punt it at people. I like to understand their issues. And if I'm solving a problem, it's more of a reward than anything else, because I'm adding more value than just something that's feature set.
Yes.
I love the idea of just doing that in the iGaming space.
Yes, well, the concept is correct. I mean, I totally agree with you. In general, we are here to try our best to create value for our customers. It's not about the product, and also we know that a product it's not so easy to have a product that is good for everyone, especially in our industry, especially in what we do. Yes.
Yeah. No, completely. So after the hosting business, I took a punt at a job, which was compliance testing and auditing for a certified laboratory, doing metrology services. I had no idea what metrology meant. I had to look it up. But I had the contacts. It was a small organization out of the UK, and they were looking for somebody that just understood the industry and how it works, and know a few gaming companies here and there. Spent 7 years building that up, and that was really, really exciting. We started with about a handful of jurisdictions back in the day. The typical Isle of Man, Malta, Alderney, and so forth. And we built that up to over 30 to 40 iGaming markets worldwide. We were the underdog in that respect. And, getting to a point where we ended up selling that off to our biggest competitor was, just a testament to what we had accomplished over those years. And it was just, from there, I felt like, compliance was a little bit of an area that I had conquered and I loved, but I wanted to see how the better half live. So I wanted to move on to, different parts of the industry, but never leave iGaming. I love iGaming too much. I mean, when I was selling compliance, I was selling into the lottery space, provincial, state, and national lotteries, land-based casinos, doing all kinds of different things, selling to those particular industries. But, so I didn't want to leave that space. So I moved into the insurance backing of lottery prizes. Did 2 years of that, which was quite a learning experience, so to speak. And after that, I did a bit of consultancy work, again in compliance.
I can imagine that.
Well, you do what you know. There was a company that didn't want my expertise, and they wanted to modernize a bit and expand their sales team. So I helped them do that. After that, I got an opportunity to work with some people that I've known for a very long time. We've always wanted to work together, and I threw down my first and last consultancy job. And I threw my hat in the ring with a company called Pretty Technical, which is the organization that I'm with right now. And we're doing some amazing things. And the core of that is software development and solutions architecture, which is back to my roots. It's problem solving.
Yes.
And some of the projects that we managed to do up to now, I'm super excited about. And I'm ready to build up Pretty Technical, which is part of a bigger group. Don't get me wrong, but I want to take Pretty Technical to next level.
Yes. Well, actually, this is, in my opinion, one of the most challenging and exciting things that a salesperson can do at the same time, especially in our industry, because there are, in my opinion, plenty of space for new realities, new startups, and new groups of companies that are looking to expand their presence or to enter the gaming space. So there is pretty much opportunities out there. Well, very good introduction, I would say. So then, because you have experience as a salesperson, not only in the gaming but also in many in other fields, in other industries. The next question that I wanted to ask you is, what is then the most challenging task that you find while working on your daily activities? What is the thing that you say, okay, this is boring or this is challenging, but I do it because I have to do it? What would you say?
I think I've got two answers to that. And both of them are at heart, I've got two issues. Firstly, I'm a bad liar, and never play poker with me. Actually, okay. Sorry, I'll never play poker with you. It's written all over my face, and that's why, and I guess it's very difficult for me to just pick up any job. I have to like what I sell. And that tends to be challenging when you're selling something that doesn't exactly have legs on it. Mm-hmm. And I guess a daily challenge is to make sure that that we as a service delivery organization has all our ducks in a row, and make sure that the product is solid before we go out and punt it, because selling something half-assed is not it's not great for you. It's not great for the company either. And it all comes back down to the fact that we're in a small industry and it'll bite you in the ass.
Yes.
And the second part of that is, in terms of daily challenges, I've got a shit memory. and I think, and I'm not the only one. I moved from direct sales to, a very not easy market, but quite a direct market to go to sell into. iGaming is completely, it's completely scattered to the wind, to say the least. You've got Malta-based companies, but half of them are in Sweden. You Curacao, everywhere. Sometimes you don't even know where the organization is headquartered or where the decision makers are. And you've got to go out and you've got to press the flesh. You've got to meet people, get introductions. And part of that is remembering people's faces and names, which I always had a problem with. But, we're always learning and we're always teaching ourselves new tricks. And I became quite good at it. I still don't think I'm great at it, but I have a number of people when we go to ICE and we go to the super shows and we go to G2E, whichever continent that might be at, whether it's Asia or US. Mm-hmm. And I literally have people coming up to me and saying, buddies of mine saying, who is that guy? or do you remember X, Y, and Z? And who's he working for now? I would say 8 times out of 10, I'll be able to answer their question. But it's
But did you find any, let's say, any trick, any system to improve on this aspect? Because really and truly, okay, I can say that both points that you mentioned are quite, let's say, reflecting my situation as well. So I'm interested to see how you manage to overcome these challenges, because it will help me as well.
No, of course. I rely heavily on the tools that I use, and like anybody does. And I was shocked about how many salespeople or organizations that are trying to handle sales on their own are trying to do it with limited tools and an inability to record the storyline of the work that they do and the contacts they make. Mm-hmm. I've learned through and through every CRM package, the strengths and weaknesses. I utilize Full Contact, which is now called Contacts Plus, to maintain a database just of my contacts. I use LinkedIn religiously. But I do maintain within the organization a very, very thorough customized CRM, where if I'm researching a company or a company calls me up, I genuinely fill in absolutely every single detail about that organization, even if it's just a website, names, titles, contact details. I do my research religiously, and you learn, you retain memory by inputting data. That's the way I retain.
I understand. So your kind of secret is in investing a lot of time in updating the CRM, we can say, with as many information as you have.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, understand. And do you use, let's say, a commercial CRM, like, I don't know, Insightly, Pipedrive, or Salesforce, or you have another system or a custom one, let's say, something that you built?
No, I've used them all in the past. Salesforce is a wonderful tool. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic for reporting. It's just about 18 years out of date, in my opinion. And you don't get the full use unless you really throw money at it and really customize it. Pipedrive, right off the shelf, is a phenomenal tool. It doesn't have the greatest reporting in the world in regards to dashboard functionality.
Yes.
But in terms of actual generating reports, researching out of your database, generating lists for sales pushes, marketing, and stuff like that, I think it's second to none.
Well, in the organization, I decided to use Pipedrive for my team, and so far we're quite satisfied, especially because having, let's say, a technical background myself as well, it was quite easy to customize and create custom fields, workflows, and to tune it a little bit. We don't use, let's say, a standard version of Pipedrive, but it's a little bit customized according to what are our needs, of course.
Yeah, I think I have more custom fields in there that track what type of company it is, where they have licenses.
Yes.
And you need it. You do need it.
Yes.
If you want to do a sales push, for Germany to find out exactly what licensees are going to move into that particular market. You better have something in your back pocket, and that is an extensive database of contacts and organizations that either are currently targeting Germany or, it's the name of the game.
Yes. I mean, we like it or not, we are competing on a very high competitive market. And we need to use all the tools that we have in order to gain a small advantage against our competitors. Okay. All right. Okay, good. So we got already some advice from you, and we'll ask you more a little bit later. Then, it's interesting. Again, what I want to understand from you now.
Actually, I got one more for you.
Sure, tell me.
There's something called just press record, which is an app for your phone.
Okay.
I found that invaluable, and and you got that on Pipedrive on the mobile app. Whenever when we're on the road, back-to-back meetings, you and I will bump into each other at ICE at the start. We'll say hi to each other and just say, great, I won't see you for about 3 days. Because nobody really has time for socializing with back-to-back meetings. And you never really have time between meetings to be able to just sit down, recoup, get some notes down, and figure out those follow-ups. I take a voice recording every time I leave a meeting.
I do the same. I do the same with Evernote.
There you go. Exactly.
And
we all do the same.
Yes. Actually, what I do is that I take a picture of the business card, and I record the voice note about what was the meeting about, and because otherwise, on Thursday, Friday, forget about everything. I mean,
I don't do the business card thing, and maybe I should. I keep that in my back pocket.
Because at the beginning I was facing an issue that I was checking this business. I said, okay, who was this guy? And you understand. In this way, it's even easier if you have, for example, a team. You take a picture with a voice note. You send it to your let's say assistant or to a person that is working with your team and maybe is not with you in the expo. And while you are taking other meetings, is just already fulfilling the CRM and can also send already another message to do maybe a follow-up meeting during the expo or immediately after.
See, that's just efficient sales. Nobody wants to wait around. I'm sorry, but if I met you, you made an effort to pitch to me during ICE. You made a fantastic impression, but if you disappear for 4 weeks afterwards, I forget.
Yes, I agree. But
if you get back to me in 48 hours, I'm thinking, wow, this guy's keen. He really wants my business.
Yes.
And, I've lived by the rule that I always put myself in my customer's shoes. If I wouldn't like to see it, why should I be doing that to one of my customers? So I'm.
Yes. Well, I always make a joke because in our agreement we have a 10 minutes response time, and this does not apply only to service level but also to sales department. So the moment we receive a message or an email, it's not important whenever at what time they send us the message. We answer back and we ask for a contact. As soon as possible. Let's put it this way: as soon as possible.
I was asked a question over one of the Zoom call the other day. They said, how should I contact you? Is Skype good for you? I said, Skype, Telegram, WhatsApp. I said,
you name it. You name it. You name it.
I said, I'm a sales guy. I'm gonna look out for your message, whichever way it comes in.
Yes.
And that's 24 hours a day, and you have to be. You have to.
Yes. Yeah. I totally, or at least, Julian, you have to be, if you want to be a little bit, let's put it in this way, successful. It's up. Yes. I always say it's up to you.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to ask you then was about, because you have experience and you decide, of course, how much you can share and if you can put some names. Really, it's up to you. What was the most challenging negotiation that you handled, and how you managed to get that deal? And you decide if it's about gaming, but if it's not, it's interesting as well, of course.
There's been so many. Really.
But there must be that one that you said, okay, I spent, 1 year, 6 months, 2 years to get it, and I got it because I did that thing.
Yeah. There isn't really one. I can remember one that I didn't win, and I guess it's a rule for any sales team, and I was reiterating this to another colleague of mine the other day, that you're going to talk to thousands of different customers over the years. And with those thousands of customers, you're going to have thousands of different personalities. And, one day you're just going to you're going to meet somebody that you just don't click with. And that might be not because you're not a great guy or anything like that. They just don't like you. They really just don't like you. It doesn't matter about the product. It doesn't matter about anything. And I had gotten on the phone and, with this customer, we were going through negotiations. I'm not going to tell you which company it was with.
No, it's okay.
The customer or the company I was working for. But, whatever I said was wrong to him. And it just sort of, I don't believe in bad luck. I think you make your own luck. But everything that I came up with just went wrong with this customer. And instead of walking away and just telling one of my colleagues, listen, I'm getting nowhere with this guy. Once you take it over, maybe he likes you more. I tried to, well, the worst thing that you can say in this industry is chase my losses. and I ended up jumping on a plane and showing up in his office. And believe me, there was no improvement there. Over the phone, to see me face to face, I think he didn't like me even more.
Okay.
That was one. I think I count myself lucky that some of the biggest customers that I've chased, and I do cut my losses quite quickly if I feel like it's a race to the bottom. In my career, I was taught quite late, but early enough to be able to learn from it, that you should learn how to fire a customer is the biggest part of sales. Whether that customer is already, engaged with you, contracted with you, or, it's a recurring customer, or even if it's just somebody that is calling you up constantly, trying to get information, it's going nowhere. Try and, walk away in a nice way because, the industry is small.
Yes.
You don't want to burn any bridges. That could be your future boss at the end of the day. But, give them an idea of, a proper exit plan from that conversation. It's, most of the people that I've talked to, in terms of big contracts, I got pretty lucky with. I talked them through it. And, gave them the benefit of everything else. I was told afterwards that they bought me. They didn't buy the company, the company's services.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, regardless of whether it's you, Domenico, selling whatever you're doing, whether it's payments, whether it's whatever, you are selling confidence. You are selling confidence in your ability to deliver.
Yes.
And if you are the face of that company, they know you're not making the hot dog. They know you're just selling it. But they're trusting you enough to be able to say, yes, I'm delivering you confidence in the people behind me that I'm confident in myself. And that I managed to do quite well. I stole one of the biggest customers off of my competitor once upon a time. I'm not saying who it was, but that was a feather in my cap. And it did take me a good 7 to 8 months of contracts that went into the versioning of 20, 30, version 30.
Yes. I had that experience as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Version 21, 22. Yes, you can easily with certain companies you can easily achieve that.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. All right. Okay. Understood. And then the next question that you usually ask during this video interviews is about sales books. Really and truly, I had already a couple of interviews, and I'm finding out an interesting trend where I was expecting many people to read, working in our same, let's say, position in our same industry, to read sales books. And apparently there is a trend that they say that not many salespeople in our industry like to read sales book. And I'm interested to see if you are on that side or you actually like to read some sales book? And if yes, is there any title that you like to suggest?
Yeah, I went through a phase of picking up sales books and reading them. I would say half a dozen. I started to see that, they were getting a little bullshitty, to say the least. And those weren't maybe written by the best sales authors in that respect. I think they were just sort of banking on their reputation. And I found that, it's very difficult to fit certain strategies into what you're doing particularly. So, I found it more valuable in lessons learned than anything else. I got more into, I used to commute and, so I haven't really sat down and read a book for a while now. Ever since my daughter was born, I just think, as soon as I pick up a book, I'm, passed out within 2 minutes. But when I was commuting, I would religiously be hooked on Audible, but it wasn't salesy books. It was more economics, biographies, obviously titles of fiction, escapism type of
yes, of course.
Just want to shut off type of thing. I found that I'm also a bit of a rabbit hole reader. If I can coin that phrase. I love research and I'm curious at heart. So, I'll whether even with music, Spotify is a great thing. You go to one band and you say, oh, it's recommending somebody else. And he used to be in this band and, who did he work with type of thing. I kind of like that music. If you see my favorites list, it's quite diverse, but it's the same thing with reading. I'll read an article and I read the news religiously each morning. And sometimes, I hit it. I find a topic that interests me and, I just go down the rabbit hole. I research something else. I find a name. I want to know more about that person. I want to know more about that subject. I want to know more about the suppliers or something. And it just takes me there. And you would be surprised about some of the topics that you really pick up on and how they've gotten to a certain point where it almost reflects what you're doing now. Instead of listening to, the Wolf of Wall Street go on and on about how you should really pitch to somebody, I find that a little bit tiresome and cringeworthy.
I understand.
But recapping a real situation that is pertinent to a conversation with a client, and they see the value in me recapping that story or that analogy, it just sort of works for me.
Yeah, I understand. I have a kind of similar issue, but related to books, because usually when you read a book, there are references to other books. So I have an endless wish list on Amazon, because every time I start reading a book, I end up adding 4 or 5 books more. So yeah. I think have more than 100 books waiting there, and I like to read a lot, and I'm reading a lot of books. But in general, okay, I have another issue, which is because I don't have a lot of time, and I have a psychological issue in reading books that are not related to what I do. So I have to, let's say, I read a book that is about sales or let's say economics or to how to get an MBA in 5 minutes, this, or about different cultures. There are plenty of topics that I like. It's difficult for me to detach myself a little bit from reading a nice fantasy book. But it's okay. I mean, I prefer Netflix for that aspect.
I'm a nerd. Give me science fiction. Give me an apocalyptic, novel. I absolutely love it.
All right.
It's my escapism. But the Walking Dead only has so many seasons. I've got to pick up something else.
Yes, no. What? I stopped watching Walking Dead after I think the third, the fourth, because it was almost always the same. So I said it's a never-ending story there. So let's move on to something else. Good. So, Julian, it was very nice, an interesting conversation, and I want to end it up with the last question, which is actually, do you have, okay, we mentioned actually, as I said before, already some tricks, in my opinion. Is there any tip, anything that you feel that you want to share with the people that are listening to us, maybe people that have started in this industry or started in this job? Is there any suggestion that an experienced person like you would like to share with the audience?
I guess, from a sales perspective, I was very, very lucky that I did a stint in marketing. I think when a sale, every salesperson has, how we always say that, everybody's selling. It doesn't matter what position you are within an organization. Everybody's selling.
But I would say even if you are a plumber, in general, you are a salesperson.
Exactly. Even if you're minding your own children in that respect, you're selling to them because you obviously want them to eat their dinner, and you're going to try and do that successfully.
Yes.
I found that I have been pretty lucky pretty successful in the positions that I've taken in the sales role. My marketing background has always helped. Because as I'm trying to, I did say that, customers are buying me, my reputation, and trust in me. I'm constantly trying to sell myself. And there are a few people in this industry that have learned that lesson and learned that lesson very, very well. They're constantly on social media. They're putting out newsletters, whether that's on behalf of the company or their own private organization. They're really pushing the envelope in that respect. Mm-hmm. I think if you think sales role is literally just going up to a customer and just saying, well, this is what we're offering, this is a price point, the USPs, and this is a reason why I think you should buy the product, you're missing a beat.
You can work for selling pipe drive.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. Yes. I totally agree. And first of all, again, it's not about, people are not buying from you because it's a product. They buy from you because it's not even about you, but because they trust that you within your company will deliver the project that they need, and they buy because they trust you. So
yeah, and it's not only about that. I mean, I think I come, which differs between you and I. I came from a highly complex side of the service industry for the iGaming industry, which was compliance, and 99% of the time, I would be talking with a customer that really doesn't have all the facts or has never gone through the process before, and I would take the approach that I would dumb it down a little bit. I said, these are the facts. I'm not going to overcomplicate things. I'm not going to use acronyms that or marketing.
Yes, it's
you need to do X, Y, and Z. These are what your obligations are, and this is how we can help you. And you know what? If you think this is complex, that's because it is. But my job here is to simplify it for you and make sure that you get from A to Z in an efficient way without any complex issues coming up. And that's what you're buying from me.
Yes, it's true.
It's consultative selling, and you do it as well. I'm sure you do, because you have customers that might be from the casino side of the industry.
Yes.
And they're just delving into sportsbook for the first time. So how do I manage my risk? How are you going to help me manage my risk?
Yes.
And I've talked to people in the industry that just are possibly a little bit too, complicating the matter so much just to make themselves look like they know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But, nine times out of 10, people just want to have a one-on-one conversation. What do I need to do, and what's going to make this a success?
Yes.
And
yes.
and if you can clarify that in simple terms, that's where the success is.
Yes, and actually, I would say that if you manage to do it successfully and properly, then the price will not even be the problem.
Exactly, and I've had that. They say, "Listen, Julian, the service is a little bit more expensive than your competitor, but we want to go with you because we trust you guys will do a better job."
Of course.
You even find it on the marketing side of things. I mean, there are some highly complex service offerings from the marketing side, data provision, analytics, and stuff like that. And to go to their website and find out exactly what they're selling.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
I don't care whether it's in the cloud, whether it's AI, data analytics.
Yes. Tell me what problem you solve.
Exactly. Tell me what you do. Yes. And if you can explain to me in a nutshell, I'll be happy to understand that and take that to my CTO, CFO, or whomever and sell that internally for you. But to be honest, I don't even think you understand what you're selling. It's
yes. Understand.
That's the impression.
The moment you have to put too many things around your concept, it's just because probably you don't have a clear understanding, and you're trying to put some clouds around the concept to hide the fact that you don't really understand what you have. I agree. Yeah. Good. So it was a real pleasure. It was really an interesting conversation, and I hope that our listeners today, they enjoyed our little chit chat. And guys, follow iGamingSalesHeroes.com and us on social media. And again, it was a real pleasure, and we speak soon. Thank you so much, Julian. Bye-bye. Yes.